I'm Jolene Wynn, and this is the Porn Addict's Wife podcast, episode number 234, How to Feel More Attractive. If your husband is struggling with a pornography problem and you want some help with it and you are not finding the resources that you like, you are in the right place. My name is Jolene Wynn. I am a certified life coach. I am an active member of the LDS faith, and I am the wife of a former porn addict. And on this podcast, I am going to share with you the tools that you need in order to start your healing journey. This is where I'm going to show you how to dive deep into intentional living, how to rekindle connection with your spouse, how to manage all that emotional turmoil that you're feeling, how to break the addiction cycle that you have to your husband's addiction, and tell you all of the ways to do that and start healing. I am so glad that you're here, and I can't wait to get started. Let's go. All right, my ladies, this episode is coming to you today inspired by my attraction masterclass that I'm hosting this week. I'll put the link in the show notes so that if you want to come join, you can. It's a 4-day live masterclass series, which means that every single day I'm going to be going live on Zoom. I'm going to be teaching about attraction, about attractiveness, and how to navigate that in your relationship. If your husband is attracted to other women, whether that's online or in person, how to handle attraction if you're feeling that towards someone else, understanding it, what it is, that physical response, that cycle, and everything like that. Especially if you want to feel more attractive in your life, come join this class. You will be able to get access to all of the call replays and get it for life. So even if you can't come live this week, please sign up anyway. That way you will get access to all of the material. The calls will be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday this week at 12 p.m. Eastern. So again, I'll put the link in the show notes, but that is what inspired this topic today. One of the days of the class this week, we're actually going to be talking all about attractiveness. And that's what really inspired this today. So last week I did the episode on attraction. If you haven't listened to that, go listen to that one first. This one will make a lot more sense. But today I want to lead you through kind of an exercise that is going to help you identify the thoughts that make you feel attractive or unattractive. Okay, so let's start with the definition, right? Feeling attractive. What is attractiveness? It's a feeling. What's fascinating is that most of us actually think of attractiveness as kind of something that's completely objective, right? We might have an idea or a manual of, all right, a female is attractive if she looks like XYZ. A male is attractive if he looks like XYZ. But that's not actually what is true. We each have our own subjective ideas or manuals or lists of qualities that make somebody look unattractive or attractive. This is why so many of us are attracted to such a broad variety and a broad variation of human beings, right? It's not that all of us are attracted to the same person. It's each one of us is attracted to different people because we have different standards or criteria of what makes somebody attractive. And that's because your thoughts are what create your feelings. That's what we talked about last week, right? We talked about attraction. This week, I want to talk about this more specifically with attractiveness and how you think about yourself in relation to attractiveness. Now, I want to preface this episode by saying that you ladies are allowed to think that you are attractive. Now, as women in our society, we are taught that we shouldn't be vain and that we shouldn't be conceited. And so a lot of times we will grow up kind of downplaying our own positive thoughts about ourselves and our physicality, the way that we look, our attractiveness, because we think it's a bad thing. We might have kind of a subconscious negativity that we place on attractiveness or on thinking that you're attractive, right? Maybe it's a thought like, well, I'm not supposed to think I'm attractive. Or maybe it's something like, yeah, well, I like these 3 things, but I'm not allowed to like everything. And again, this might be super subconscious, but if you just give yourself a minute, I want you to give yourself permission or practice giving yourself permission that you are allowed to find yourself attractive. You are allowed to think that you are an attractive woman. And that's what I want to start with. I want to, if you have a hard time thinking of yourself as attractive, we're going to go through this exercise today, but if you have a hard time thinking of yourself as attractive, then I want to offer that you take a look at the thoughts around attractiveness. Now, again, if you want help doing this, come to the masterclass this week because we're going to be doing it this week. I think we're going to be doing it on Wednesday. is when we're going to talk all about attractiveness. So I will help you, and we'll do some more exercises in depth on that call. But take a look at the thoughts that you have around attractiveness. Do you think you're allowed to believe you are attractive? Not just intellectually, but actually believing it, right? Not just something you're like, oh yeah, I know I'm allowed to believe it, but do you actually believe that you're attractive? Or do you have this subconscious kind of negativity around believing that for yourself? Do you think that you're only allowed to believe you're attractive if you wear makeup or if you dress a certain way, right? That it's really fascinating, and I would encourage you to kind of dive into this in this thoughts that you have around, or manuals that you have around whether or not you're allowed to think of yourself as attractive. And that's going to shape, or attractiveness in general, and that's going to shape how you think and feel about it in yourself. Does that make sense? Okay. What I want to offer today is, again, I'm going to lead you through a series of exercises, and in a little bit. First, I want to offer one thing, and here's what it is. When do you feel most attractive? I want you to take just a moment and really think about that. Close your eyes, pause the episode. When do you feel most attractive? Okay, remember, feeling attractive, that's a feeling. It comes from our thoughts. But there are times when we feel more attractive than other times. When do you feel more attractive? Okay, I want you to think about it. What are you wearing when you feel most attractive? Are you wearing, what does your makeup look like? Are you not wearing makeup? Are you wearing very light makeup? Or what are the clothes that you're wearing? Is it when you're most comfortable? Maybe you like to get dressed up, be fancy, as my little girls say, right? Maybe for me, I'll give you guys an example, is I love to be tan. You guys can totally judge me and tell me all the things that are wrong with this, but I love to go tanning. I go tanning, and I have a little pass that I use to a local place because I feel more attractive when I am tan. I love the summer. I love getting tan, okay? Do you feel more attractive when you're tan? What about your nails? Do you like having your nails painted? Do you like having them plain? Do you like getting your nails done? Do you like acrylic nails? Right? What about your hair? Do you feel most attractive when your hair is up in a messy bun, or when it's down, or when you've curled it, or right after you get it done by your hairstylist, right? What is it? When do you feel most attractive? And ladies, as you answer all of those questions, I want to offer you this one thing. Whatever it is that you do that makes you feel most attractive, do more of those things. If you want to feel more attractive, then do more of the things that make you feel attractive. Okay? Voila. Now, I know, yes, ladies, we are going to work on all your thoughts, and we're going to dive into that in a minute. But you can also add and change your circumstances. It is okay. It is allowed. I know on this podcast we talk so much about changing your thoughts and processing your feelings, but sometimes, ladies, if there is something, I'm all about making your life easier. I'm all about making my own life easier, okay? If there is something that you do that already makes you feel more attractive, do more of it. If you like getting your nails done, get your nails done more. If you like getting your hair done, get your hair done more. I'm going to give you guys an example, okay? We can help ourselves that I began very intentionally kind of getting ready. I've always made it a point to get ready for my day, to shower. I always shower, but to put on real clothes, not just wear sweats. Now, was this harder when all of my babies were very little? Yes, we had 5 kids in 6 years. I had lots of little babies. So sometimes I would get to the end of the day and I had worked out and I hadn't showered yet. And sometimes that happened and I wouldn't shower till the end of the day, and it all happens. But I started making a conscious effort, and I think it was after baby number 3 that I really started being really intentional about not just getting ready for the day, but putting outfits together in a way that made me feel like me. I started being very intentional about my shopping and what kind of style I have. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you know I'm a little bit of a hippie and I love bohemian styles. That was something I did very intentionally to discover what it was that I liked to dress in and what I felt most attractive in. How I learned how to dress my body. And I started doing that very intentionally. I started but doing my makeup every day because I feel more attractive when I have makeup on. Do I still feel attractive without makeup? Yes. But I feel more attractive with makeup. I like having my makeup on. So I put on makeup every single day. I love jewelry. I feel like me. I feel like more attractive with jewelry. I think it's very feminine. I love that. I love having long nails, so I paint my nails. All of these things, I intentionally curate it. I intentionally do it every single day to help me feel more attractive. I feel more attractive when I get ready for the day. And when I have done it in a way that feels like an accurate reflection of who I am and my personality, then it's even more fun. I feel even more attractive because it's an actual representation of myself. So I want to offer that to you. And I know if you have littles, or if you're like, oh, I don't have the money to do this, it doesn't have to be about money. It can simply be about, what is it to you specifically? Maybe it's as simple as putting on perfume. Maybe it's as simple as washing your hair. What is it that makes you feel more attractive? And you can even think about this specifically in regard to sexually with your spouse. What makes you feel more attractive sexually with your spouse? Is it when you put on lingerie? Is it when you throw on one of his t-shirts? Right? Do more of what makes you feel attractive. Okay? And then we can work on your thoughts, okay? Because that's what we're going to do next. I want to lead you through a series of questions. If you guys follow me on Instagram, which you can at Jolene Wynn Coaching, I played this game with my sister and brother-in-law and my husband last night. I had them answer these questions, and it was super fun. So this is, again, part of what I'm going to be doing this week in the masterclass. And they were such good sports to do this with me. But I have some questions I want to offer to you guys to consider to help you understand and become aware of the thoughts that are making you feel attractive or unattractive. Okay, you guys ready? Okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, and you can't say 7. Okay, 7 is a default number, you can't say 7. Okay, so if 7 is your number that you come up with, you have to choose either 6 or 8. So on a scale of 1 to 10, just your gut check answer, what's the first number that comes to your mind? How attractive do you feel with your spouse? Okay. How attractive do you feel with your spouse? Don't overthink this. This is just your gut check answer. Okay. On a scale of 1 to 10, how attractive do you feel with your spouse? And then we want to take a look at that number and ask why? Why that number? Another way to ask that is, what do you think you would need in order to make it a 10? Why is it not a 10 already? Now, my sister actually answered a 10. She said she feels like a 10 with her spouse. So for her, and for any of you guys who feel like a 10, then I want to ask you this question. What if what you think is a 10 is only a 5? What if what you think is as good as it can get isn't true? What if it can actually get even better? And let that sit, not because in a way to diminish what you have, but in a way to believe that there's even greater potential. Does that make sense? So I want, again, to offer that question to you. How attractive do you feel with your spouse? And whatever your number is, it's just your immediate answer. Then we want to ask, what would you need to make it a 10? Why is it not a 10? And that's going to inform you. That's going to give you a whole list of thoughts. And I would encourage you to write them down on a piece of paper. You can pause this right now, go write them down on a piece of paper. If you say you're going to come back to this, you probably won't. Okay, pause this right now, dictate it into your phone. Why are you not at a 10? What's in the way? And now, for those of you who have a husband that struggles with pornography, you probably have a million thoughts about, well, I'm not sure about what he's thinking when we're together, or I'm worried that he's comparing me to things that he's seen. All of those things, you're just going to write them all down. I'm worried that he's worried about my body because I've gained 10 pounds or whatever it is. You write down all the thoughts, okay? And then we get to start looking at them. And what I'm going to do during this week at the masterclass is help my clients see all of those thoughts and then process all of those and then retrain your brain around them so that you no longer have to think those anymore. Because whatever comes up is just a thought or a feeling. And this is the best news ever, because that means that the only thing in between what number you have right now and the 10 that you want to get to is your thoughts and feelings. And ladies, you are 100% in control of those, even if it doesn't feel like it all the time. Okay? All right, next question. On a scale of 1 to 10, and you can't say 7, how attractive do you feel when you're by yourself? When you look in the mirror, how attractive do you feel? What's the first number that popped up into your head? Okay? And then ask yourself, why? why am I not already at a 10? And I can already tell you my own thoughts. One of them is that I have big arms and I would want my arms to be skinnier. Okay. So I think yesterday when I did this, my husband asked me afterward, after I asked him and my sister and my brother-in-law, he was like, well, what about you? And I was like, well, I don't have to do it. I'm the coach. And he said, well, now you're not. I'm going to ask you. And I think I said, I want to say I said like an 8 by myself, right? I feel like a 9 with him. And initially I thought 10, but I was like, okay, 9. And then probably an 8 by myself. And my thought was that I want my arms to be thinner. And that was the reason why, right? So that's my number. And then, okay, why is it not a 10? And that's the thought. That's just a thought, ladies. And again, your brain's going to give you a whole bunch of thoughts that it thinks are just facts. It's like, well, I'm too heavy. I'm overweight. I'm not the right size. I should be skinnier. I should be smaller. My face should look different. My nose is too big, whatever it is. And your brain's going to give you a lot of things that it thinks are just fact. They're not fact. They're just thoughts. Okay? And the good news is that you're in control of your thoughts. Any thought that you see, we can process the emotion that comes up when you actually sit there and accept that that's what you think, and then you can choose whether or not you want to keep it. Maybe you want to choose to think that you want a smaller nose, but maybe you also want to change to think that your nose is actually just fine. And if you want to change the thoughts that you're becoming aware of, you can. You just have to learn how to retrain your brain. It just takes some intentional effort and focus. Okay? Third and final question. You guys ready? On a scale of 1 to 10, how attractive do you feel when you are surrounded by members of the same sex as you? How attractive do you feel when you are in a room full of other women? Now, what was fascinating about this is that you might have different answers depending on which group of women you're with. Okay? So it might be an initial gut check answer, and then, or it might feel more confusing to you. So you can go ahead and say, okay, well, when I'm with my really good close friends, then I feel like this number. When I'm with people I don't know, a bunch of women I don't know, I feel like this. Or when I go to the gym around other women, I feel like this, right? So that might be something that comes up for you. And then each one of those, ask yourself why. Get a number for each one of those groups and scenarios, and then ask yourself why. Why that number? Why am I not at a 10? Why is that number different with this group than it is with this group? And it's going to be so enlightening, ladies, for you to understand and see what's going on in your brain subconsciously. I know that most of us are aware on some level of how we feel about ourselves and how attractive we feel and around other women, but this is so fascinating to actually get this all out on paper and to see it not just in your mind, but actually see it on paper so that you can then start to go through the process of step number 1, awareness. That's what we're doing right here. Step number 2 is acceptance. Step number 3 is processing the emotion that comes up with it. Because ladies, all of this is going to bring up emotion. We want to make sure that we're processing it and not just shoving it away, not pretending like it's not there, not trying to talk your way out of it. That's not what this episode is for. Okay. We're not here to talk your way out of it and to be like, oh no, I totally believe that. That's a terrible thing to think. We're just going to become aware of it. We're going to accept it. We're going to process the emotion. And then you get to choose a new thought. You can decide on purpose. Do I want to keep this thought? Yes or no? And then step number 5 is retrain your brain. This is the process that I teach in my program over and over and over and over. This is what we're starting to do this week in the Attraction Masterclass. This is the work on how to actually change. If you want to feel more attractive to yourself, with your spouse, with other women, no matter what situation or circumstance that you are in, if you want to feel more attractive, then you can. The only thing that's in the way between where you are right now and where you want to go is your thoughts and feelings. And when you know how to be in control of your thoughts, when you know how to process your feelings, when you know how to retrain your brain, when you have those tools, then where you want to go becomes absolutely attainable and possible and probable, and it's waiting for you. All right, ladies, if you want help with this, come join us this week at the masterclass. I'll put the link in the show notes again. If you really want to dive into this, come join my coaching program. I will work with you on this one-on-one so that we can get you where you want to go. I love you ladies so much, and I hope you guys have a fantastic week, and I'll see you next week on a brand new episode. So take care. All right, ladies, if you enjoyed this podcast, then I want to invite you to come join my coaching program. This is where we take everything on the podcast and we actually get to apply it in order to transform your life. And I know that that is a big promise, but it's 100% true. On the podcast, it's like learning how to ride a bike. It's like reading a book, an instruction manual. via audio on how to ride a bike. And my coaching program is where you actually ride the bike. And that is what creates the transformation. This is what actually enables you to go from point A to point B, to actually create the transformation that you are seeking. If you are feeling stuck, if you are feeling like you are loving everything, but you just can't see the end from where you are now, then I want to help you. Come work with me one-on-one. I have a lifetime access program, which means it doesn't expire. You come work with me, I will help you every step of the way and work with you personally to make sure that you get where you want to go. I can't wait to see you there. Head to my website today, joleneWynn.com, and sign up.